America's election headquarters and the skyrocketing premiums for Obamacare. They could turn into a real vulnerability for Democrats as Donald Trump seizes on the issue on the campaign trail.
Repealing Obamacare and stopping Hillary's health care takeover is one of the single most important reasons that we must win on November 8th.
Joining us now for a little debate, Simon Rosenberg, president and founder of NDN and former Bill Clinton campaign advisor, and Morgan Ortagus, national co-chair of Maverick PAC and a former financial intelligence analyst for the Treasury Department. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Simon, as a loyal Democrat, are you worried that Obamacare is going to become a millstone for Democrats running? I mean, some of these premium announcements are coming out right before the election.
I think it's an issue, and I think we're going to have to address it. I mean, I think the particularly big problem is we just don't have a lot of time to rebut some of the more, the exaggerated charges that we're going to hear. Let's be clear about what happened and what was announced, right? We're talking about 1.5 million to 2 million people who get their health insurance through the exchanges will see these galloping costs in their, hurt their own pocketbook. This is not affecting a bigger pool of people than that. And on balance, right, I think we can defend Obamacare. We've eliminated pre-existing conditions, lifetime caps. More than 20 million people have gotten insurance through Obamacare, and health care costs in general, which is a big contributor to the deficit, have slowed down, and the growth of, so we can defend it over time, but I think, yes, there's an opportunity for the Republicans in this short window to make some gains in the next few weeks.
All right, Morgan, your response to some of Simon's points.
Well, good luck defending it. I think that this is a game changer, actually, for Republicans in tough Senate races, tough House races over the next 13 days. You know, it's easy to say what you've done with Obamacare, but go to the small business owner who can't hire more employees because they're worried about raising the number of employees they have to afford Obamacare. Go to the people whose premiums have risen. There's a reason why these insurers are dropping out of the marketplace. When you see the big guys leave the Obamacare marketplace, or when you see the premiums rising 25%, they're leaving, or the premiums are rising because costs are rising and the system doesn't work. We can go back to the inception of Obamacare, where the president jammed this through a Democrat-controlled Congress, and I don't think that they should be so surprised that Republicans aren't willing to lift a finger for a program that they find inherently flawed and bad for the American economy and bad for the small business owner.
If we are getting to the point where just one insurer is available to so many of these people, I mean, how do you fix that, Simon? It's not like you can go to Aetna or United Healthcare and say, hey, come back, well, let's try this again.
Yeah, look, there's no question that, in my mind, right, that on balance, Obamacare has been a success, right? This is a part of because Obamacare is much more than about the individual exchanges. It's eliminating pre-existing conditions. There's a lot that was in this, right? But this part of Obamacare is going to have to be fixed by the next Congress. It's an opportunity, frankly, for the two parties to work together to make sure that millions of Americans have a better health care system. Repealing it and replacing it is not an option. It will deny tens of millions of people who have insurance today, who've acquired it in the last few years. It will strip it from them. The Republicans are going to have to come to terms that their job now is to work with the Democrats to fix the system that's in place. And I think this is a great opportunity for Hillary Clinton and Paul Ryan to come together to work on something out of the box early next year.
Morgan, do you see that prospect? I mean, Obamacare, I don't think, got a single Republican vote when it was passed.
No, because there was no bipartisan consensus in trying to pass it in the first place. We have to see, of course, what happens in the Senate. Hillary Clinton in many polls is ahead. Of course, Mr. Trump would argue that he's ahead. But when you look at these close Senate races, the Republicans are being vastly outspent and outworked in the ground game in many ways. But the American electorate are still keeping these Senate races close. So why is that? That is because that the American people are not willing to give Hillary Clinton a mandate, and they're not willing to say that the game is over just yet. So a lot of it, again, lies what happens in the Senate. Republicans and Democrats will have to come to the table, but the primary lesson of how this flawed and failed bill was passed 8 years ago, I guess at this point, goes to show why people do actually have to work together, because now we have a bill that doesn't work with anybody. You could argue on balance it's better for, a certain number of people, but that just doesn't resonate with the small business owner right now watching Fox News who says, I can't hire 2 more people because I can't afford the regulatory costs. This is where Washington gets out of touch with everyday American lives.
Small business startups over the last 8 years have been abysmally low, Simon. Is this part of the reason, or is there something else afoot?
Well, the White House put out a major study about that issue yesterday, and I think this is going to be an area of significant discussion and debate in the coming years. But let's be clear, right? The economy is far better today than when Barack Obama took office, and even after the ACA is passed, we've seen now 4 consecutive years of significant increases in incomes and wages. We've seen the unemployment rate under 5%. We've seen a soaring stock market. So all the doom and gloom that we heard from the Republicans about how the ACA was going to be a job killer, it simply wasn't true. It's not true, right? And the economy is actually far better off today. A recent Bloomberg poll, only 28% of Americans said that the economy is worse off today than when Obama took office. The Republican narrative on this stuff is just wrong and out of touch with the American people.
John, you know what? John, if it's such a great system, then why are all the insurers dropping out of it?
There are issues. Listen, I said, right? There are things that have worked really well. There are things that are going to have to be addressed. Like
what exactly worked well?
I think I already went through all this, right? And I guess you weren't listening, right?
We're about to launch the discussion all over again.
But the American people are listening, and they're going to be voting on this in the next 13 days. So watch for that. It's not a winner for you guys.
All right. Morgan Ortagus, Simon Rosenberg, good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.